Hey, Michaela.
Yes.
You like reading books, don't you?
I love reading books.
Are there any types of books you don't like reading, though?
Well, besides science fiction or horror books,
Yeah.
I read a lot of business books. So I can't stand those fable business books where it's just a made-up story.
Parables.
Yeah, those things.
Yeah, right. So
Can't stand them.
You know the Bible's a parable, right?
Well, I didn't say I enjoyed reading them.
Welcome to the Tradies Business Show, helping you get off the tools and into true business ownership, so you can spend more time doing the things that matter most. Now, here are your hosts, Warwick Bidwell and Michaela Clark.
And welcome to another episode of the Tradies Business Show, and today we're all intellectual.
We're all intellectual.
We're going to pull up the fireplace, we're going to put our cigar in, no, what are they called, those pipe things?
The pipe.
And our robes on, and we're going to sit down with a good book.
Okay, we're
Yes.
going to read a book by the fire. You've painted a very good picture there,
I have.
Michaela.
It's another book club episode. It's been a while between drinks with the old book club episodes.
And I love a good parable. Don't you, Michaela?
No, not if it's a business book. I want hard facts. I want case studies. It's just made up.
Well,
And I know that-
everything.
And I do know some of the best, greatest business books written have been fables,
Parables.
parables.
Fables technically have animals in them, but that's okay. You can
Okay,
have animals in your teaching
parables?
stories.
I do have trouble saying that
They're
word.
just stories that are used to illustrate a principle
That's right,
which
but how do you
has
know?
real-world application.
That's right, but how do you know that's a good principle to live by?
Well, every textbook ever written was just shit made up by some guy who thought it was a good idea.
Necessarily. But anyway, as you can gather, today's book is a parable.
Yes, it is.
Which I'll have to say, Warwick said, you got to read this book, you got to read this book. So I paid for it, downloaded
Oh,
it, and then it's a
and aren't you
parable.
glad that I got you to do that?
He didn't tell me beforehand.
I don't think you got as much out of this book as I did.
You cried, I certainly didn't. But, sorry, I
Yeah.
just added you on the
I
show.
cry at the opening of a tissue box.
Yeah. Look, I really did love this book, and I did take a lot of valuable lessons away from it, but you were in love with this book.
Yeah, I just thought there was some really powerful lessons in there for those of us who, and well, it's a book review, so if you don't want us to spoil the book, I think Michaela's just, she reckons the book was spoiled the moment she downloaded it, I think, but if you don't want us to spoil the book, go get it and read it or listen to it before you listen to this episode. But if you don't mind a bit of a spoiler, we're going to give you a bit of a wrap-up and a summary of the book and probably the key lessons from it, and I think, from my perspective, how you could apply it in your tradie business or in your life, really.
Yes.
So the book is The Go-Giver, G-O-G-I-V-E-R, The Go-Giver, and one of the key authors is Bob Burg, B-U-R-G. It's an American book, like most books written in this space. I found it to be very powerful and quite poignant, given that most of us struggle with sales and growing our business in that way. And how do we, get those deals done and get the alliances signed up and get all the referrals coming to us? There's lots of receiving that's required in that whole, grow your business, get more customers thing. So you have to be able to attract more customers and sign them up and get the contract done and collect the money, and it can be a bit challenging and confronting for a lot of people. And this book has lots of great principles taught through a parable that is really helpful with some of that mindset.
Yeah. And look, I did take a lot out of it, and it is a good way to look at doing business.
Uh-huh.
Yes, sorry,
Well,
I'm a bit stuffy today, if you haven't noticed.
You're a bit sick. You're sick of parables.
Yes.
But it does, it covers some of the, I think, limiting beliefs or perhaps the beliefs that don't serve us from that sales point of view, taught through a story, obviously, but this whole idea that it's better to give than to receive. And that can be quite challenging, because you can't just keep giving and giving and giving. We don't want to give our work away for free or our time away for free, and yet we're constantly taught, and even through this book, we're taught that that's actually the way to attract people to us and attract deals and money and everything else is to be very giving and give lots of value and, you know, be helpful. And Michaela, you and I talk about content marketing, and this show is a classic example of giving away our expertise and our content and everything for free, and you're still giving away mucus at the moment because you've got the flu.
I was trying to do it on
You're trying to be
side.
discreet, and I've got the visual here of you with the box of tissues.
See how committed I am to putting this show? I get out of my sick bed for
I know,
listeners.
we dragged you out of your hospital bay and into the studio. And that's how giving we are, Michaela. And that is certainly one of the lessons from The Go Giver by Bob Burg, is about giving value and everything. So I think the big kicker from this book was that's all well and good, but how do I actually balance that with, you know, when do I get? And is it okay for me to want to get? You know, get sales, get money, get help, whatever it is. Well, I need help. But this book does a really good job, I think, of balancing those two seemingly competing interests.
Yeah, and it is a good way the book goes through. I think it's the 4 or 5 values to live by, and ties them all in together. And I think one thing I took away from it was that, you know, to be giving, you need to also be ready and willing to receive, and that's really hard for a lot of people to actually do and be able to do. And another thing I took away from it was, you know, it talks about where people try to do a deal, they want to do a win-win deal.
Yeah.
And that really stuck with me. They're saying, well, that's not a win-win for everybody. You should just look to, you know, win for them and see what they need, and it will come back when you're ready to receive.
Because there's that whole idea of keeping score.
Yep.
And to do a win-win deal, you have to keep score, which as the authors say, that's like being a creditor. You know, how much do you owe me? I gave you this. I did you a favour. Now it's time for you to pay me back. And that's not really a value-adding relationship. That's all about, well, when am I going to get my repayment?
That's right. That stuck with me. And then I heard a few days later this thing of win-win kept coming up, and I kept thinking, oh, it's not necessarily a good thing.
That's right.
So it did stick with me, that part of the book. But it was very good, and I do recommend that anyone reads it. It actually was my first audiobook.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know you.
I love audiobooks.
I know you've been a big audiobook fan, and I don't know, I was funny about it, but I downloaded it and, got through it a lot quicker than I would have read. So, especially for our guys who are out on the road a lot, you don't have time to read. Just try, it was like a 2-hour book.
Yep.
I think something like that.
Hour and 20, I think.
Yep.
Close to 2 hours. And
because it's easy in a story, it's easy to listen to and pick it up.
So there is an advantage to a parable.
There is.
Yeah.
Try looking at audiobooks, Audible, and iBooks, stuff like that. Will have books where you can download.
Yeah, you can get them through iTunes or on sites like Amazon or Audible, which is the associated one. And Audible have actually just released their Australian-based site, so it's all in Australian dollars. They have a membership service. We're not plugging them, and we're not affiliates. Maybe if we sell enough books, we could be, Michaela. But I always thought I would hate audiobooks because I'm not an auditory person, so I don't take on driving directions when someone tells them to me. I cannot recall them. But if you scratch them on a piece of paper or show me on a map or something, then I'll take them in. So I always resisted audiobooks, but I find they force me to listen to the book, and I tend to remember and recall a lot of the stuff a lot better than when I read it. And I'm a very fast reader, so I've come to prefer audiobooks, actually.
It's interesting. I'm still 50-50, so we'll see.
Well,
And you can get on Amazon now, you can download the digital book and sync it with the audio as well. So it syncs, so wherever you're up to in either one, it will take you back when you go to the other one.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
So I could sit on the couch and read a book and then listen to it from where I got up to in the car the next morning.
Technology.
Wow. There you go. So there's a bonus lesson in today's episode. But by all means, check out The Go Giver by Bob Burg. I can't remember the second author, but it's co-authored. Kevin somebody or other.
Poor Kevin.
He's second fiddle. It's just because his name's second, see? I can remember the first guy, Bob Burg. That's an easy name to remember. But Kevin something or other. Something fairly innocuous.
That's it. So put your pipe out now. Turn your fire off.
Turn your fire off.
Keep your robe on.
Yeah, please keep your robe on.
But You go.
Wait, what? I was just going to say, listeners, if you do read or listen to the book and you've got some feedback for us, let us know what your lessons were. Go hit us on the Facebook page, Tradies Business Show. If you're a Toolkit member, tell us about it in there. But we'd love to hear your thoughts on The Go Giver.
And any other business books, or not necessarily business books, that we should read, because we both love them. So,
especially parables.
No thanks.
Yeah. So if you've got a great book that you've read and you'd like us to review it, or perhaps you'd like to give us your review, we might even be bold and get you on the show. Get a listener review of a book.
Could be the Jane Austen Book Club. We can be the Tradies Book Club or something like that.
Something like that. But yeah, by all means, let us know if there's any great books out there that you think we should review or read, or some great principles that you've learned. And a great place to share those sorts of learnings and actually get more from other tradies is in the Tradies Business Toolkit. tradiesbusinesstoolkit.com. It's only $1 for the first 30 days. That's US dollars, by the way, because we do have international listeners. G'day if you're listening in the US of A or in the United Kingdom. I know we've got a couple of listeners over there, so great to have you with us. So yes, $1 US for 30 days, and then it's just $27 a month after that. And we're doing things like, bonus content, and we're actually putting together some training videos at the moment. So how to implement a sales process in your business will be launched soon, and there'll be ones about recruitment and marketing and all sorts of cool stuff, which you can get access to all of those for just $27 a month, and our private Facebook group.
Yes.
All right.
So, tradiesbusinesstoolkit.com.
That's right. I said that.
Okay. Obviously, I wasn't listening.
You were blowing your nose again.
I was.
All right. Well, until next episode, listeners, great to have you with us.
And get healthy.
Hooroo.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Tradies Business Show with Warwick Bidwell and Michaela Clark. Want to get off the tools and into true business ownership? Find out how at tradiesbusinessshow.com.